Live election reports from around Des Moines. Do coattails work in Iowa? And tight Polk County legislative races. I'm TJ Beer, and we'll be back with details on these stories in a moment.
There's been a lot of talk about high interest rates on home mortgages. You may be waiting for mortgage rates to go down. In the meantime, inflation is driving construction costs up 10% a year, and the cost of existing homes follows the cost of building. Mortgage rates may come down, maybe not. But if you wait, you may have to settle for less home, or one that'll cost more. A realtor can explain these economic facts. And as a buyer, these realtor services will cost you nothing.
Zenith is sounding good.
Zenith Audio. Powerful receivers with precise, clean sound. Allegro speakers that give you remarkably accurate response. Precision belt-driven turntables. And all the performance features you want.
Zenith is sounding good.
Audio, the flip side of Zenith.
It's on sale now, plus a free $100 face value savings bond at Archer's in Fort Dodge. Ask about the Zenith Video Recorder free home trial plan at Powers TV.
Election day. The political crystal ball gazing is over. It's up to the American voters. In Iowa, some voters may still be deciding who they want in local, state, and national offices. Polls are open until 9 o'clock. Iowans have seen some strong third-party efforts throughout this campaign season, but tonight most of the attention will go to the two parties. We'll be going to the party headquarters from time to tonight as votes are totaled. First, Christy Callahan is standing by at the Hotel Fort Des Moines to sample the mood of the Republicans, and then we'll go to Barry Zoller for the Democratic Party. Christy?
Thanks, TJ. I'm here at the Hotel Fort Des Moines with the Republicans, where things are getting a little bit tense as Republican supporters and leaders are continuing to gather slowly. As you know, we have just a few hours yet until the polls close, and you can feel the tension as Republicans anxiously wait to hear those final results. Senatorial candidate Charles Grassley is expected to show up here later to address the crowds. That is, after the final tallies are taken. News Center 13 will be covering that speech live. Barry?
Thank you, Christy. I'm here at the Democratic headquarters at the Hotel Savory in downtown Des Moines. Things are a little quiet around here now, but the mood is expected to be quite tense once the polls close and results start coming in. Senator John Culver, who has been in a virtual dead heat with Congressman Charles Grassley, isn't even expected to be here until past 11. He's scheduled to make a speech in Cedar Rapids at 10. But if the result is as close as the polls indicate, we may not even know by then who the winner will be. But by then we should have the results of a number of races, and we'll attempt to bring you reactions from both the winners and the losers. Barry Zoller at the Democratic headquarters at the Hotel Savory. Now back to our studios and TJ Beer.
Thank you, Barry. Both parties are carefully watching the race for U.S. Senate. The incumbent, John Culver, is a Democrat. The challenger, Charles Grassley, is a Republican. Now, what are the voters' choices? Culver is finishing his first term in the Senate, but he's no newcomer to Congress. He served in the U.S. House of Representatives for 10 years. The Harvard-educated lawyer is a big supporter of arms control. He led the forces opposing the B-1 bomber. Culver has led forces advocating social programs. Culver has been a staunch supporter of the ERA. Now, late in the campaign, Culver noted that he and Grassley have both voted to support higher Social Security benefits. However, Culver claims Grassley voted against the tax hike necessary to fund the increase. Now, in contrast to Culver, Grassley is a farmer from northern Iowa. He agrees with the Republican Party line on U.S. military strength. Grassley has opposed the SALT II treaty to limit arms. While he's been in the U.S. House for the last 16 years, Grassley has served on agriculture and banking committees. On social issues, Grassley believes the cost of big government is partly due to such social programs as education and welfare. Grassley has declined to support the Iowa ERA. George Mills is with us. He's our senior political reporter. George, you've covered about 25 general elections, I think. Now, NBC, as you may well know, projects Reagan as a winner. Now, what I would like to know, I've just been talking about the Grassley-Culver U.S. Senate race. What could that possibly mean to that race?
Well, it could mean that the national trend is also going on here in Iowa, but that isn't necessarily true because coattails really don't work in Iowa anymore. The best example of that's in the 1972 election when Nixon carried the state by 210,000, but Democratic Senator Dick Clark won by, what was it, 132,000. So Iowans are very independent in the way they vote. They skip all over the map. So there's nothing conclusive about the fact that Reagan's leading nationally.
You may have heard on NBC News, we're talking about a general shift to the
Yeah,
right, and that's
yeah.
been, of course, in the political talk for some time. Is it true that this race that we're looking at for the U.S. Senate spot is the classic liberal-conservative clash?
Pretty
in
much,
Iowa?
I would say so. It's geographical, too, incidentally.
Is it?
You realize that we've got 2 senators now on the Mississippi River. Culver lives at McGregor. Jepsen lives in Davenport. And that hasn't happened since the 1890s.
Okay, thank you, George. George will be with us throughout the evening, and although the U.S. Senate race is capturing much of the attention, some local legislative races have had their share of interest. Bill Mahler is standing by live at the Polk County election headquarters. Bill, in the central Iowa area, a race where an incumbent has held 2 jobs, another where there's been a lot of money spent, and some newcomers trying to get into the political arena. What races are particularly interesting to you?
Well, that's right, TJ. One interesting race is in Senate District 30. The Republican incumbent is Dave Rettinger. He's finding himself in a strong race against political newcomer Robert Marks. There's been some talk of an upset there. Also, House District 62. That's a Democratic stronghold. 6-term veteran Norm Jesse there is finding himself in a very tight race with Joanne Trucano. You may remember that Jesse was in trouble in the courts recently, charges that he was illegally holding 2 positions as House Representative and Assistant County Attorney. He was exonerated, but there was still some negative fallout because of that. Also, in the Supervisor District number 2, Tom Whitney against James Wilhelm, a very strong race there. So these are some of the interesting ones we'll be following for you tonight.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We will have results from Polk County races and other central Iowa returns later in the evening, and we'll also be counting the Iowa votes for president. I'm TJ Beer. Stay tuned for more local Decision 80 coverage.
Local election coverage is also brought to you by the new Dick Hazelbaker Chevrolet at 300 East Grand and by Walt Johnson's Collector's Extravaganza.